The second movie, in chronological order, would be Captain Marvel. Let's go. So Captain Marvel is played by Brie Larson, and for the life of me, when I know the name, but I could not remember ever watching her in anything. So I was pleasantly surprised watching Captain Marvel. Oh, she is so good. She gave me everything that I needed for this movie. So, quick synopsis: Captain Marvel is an extraterrestrial Kree warrior, right? And she gets now kidnapped by the enemies of the Kree, which is known as the Skrulls. And while she's kidnapped, they tap into her brain. And she goes back to a time in 1995 when she was living on Earth and she was a US pilot, Carol Denver, right? She escapes to Earth, and they then come after her with the help of Nick Fury. And what I love about this movie is that we see a little bit more into Nick Fury. Also, spoiler alert, learn how he loses his eye, but a little bit about that later. And they follow her then down to Earth. And then it turns into this whole battle where she tries to uncover the secrets of her past while harnessing her superpowers. Initially, her superpowers, obviously, it's a superhero movie. Her superpowers are her hands, so she's here, pew 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 pew. But by the end of the movie, she really comes into her own, and she's like a ball of fire. It's amazing. I absolutely loved every single minute of seeing her harness her powers and come into her own, and basically uncover what she's able to do while saving the earth, obviously. What I loved, so the head Skrulls, let's talk cast. Told you already, love Brie Larson. Samuel L. Jackson plays Nick Fury. Now he's Special Agent Nick Fury that works for the Shield. It's a long name. I'm not even gonna try and say what Shield is. That works for Shield, right? And he's the guy that, as we go through all of these movies, is the one that makes contact with the superheroes before they realize that they are like superheroes or understand what's happening to them and try to recruit them into Shield. Shield then eventually puts them all together and they become what? The Avengers. So I enjoyed him as well. Um, Head Skrull, his name is Talos. He's played by Ben Mendelsohn. Got to take my hat off to Ben Mendelsohn because I've never considered British humor to be my thing. I've never really enjoyed British humor, but there was something about making Talos British and then him being as hilariously. I mean, he was scary and hilarious. Like it. Aye, hats off to Ben. What I loved about the Skrulls, what made it also interesting, was they were able to morph into any sort of figure or human being that they saw. And there were two really interesting morphs that took place. The one was when they turned into the Shield boss, right? And one of the things that made you identify who's a Skrull and who's not is Skrulls did not have long-term memory, they only had short-term memory. And then he unpacks and realizes, Agent, what's his name, Colin? Realizes that the boss is not the boss because he doesn't remember the time in New Mexico or whatever the case may be. The second time was in the bus when she's trying to chase the Skrulls and she gets onto the bus, and for some reason in front of everybody she just whacks this old lady and it turns out to be one of the Skrulls. It's hilarious. I really enjoyed it. We meet Goose the cat. Okay, we talk about sometimes I wonder the people that make these characters up or make these extraterrestrials up. Are y'all on mushrooms? Are y'all on psychedelics? Because it's the cutest. Now, I'm allergic, so it's a lot for me to call a cat cute. It is the cutest little brown haired golden cat. But this thing is a monster, right? I think they call it a falcon. The breed or whatever is a falcon. And basically, Goose is the reason why Nick Fury loses his eye. But Nick also falls in love with Goose and sweeps him along and takes him along kind of their journey. So I'd love to see if he does come back. If he makes a reappearance, I found that to be one of the more interesting parts of the movies. The ending, going up into space to kill the Krees, because then she finds out that she was Carol Danvers and that this Kree people, oh no, the person that she was in the US Force was actually a Kree, and then when they came to come and fetch her, they took her worth and wiped her memory and made her think that she's Kree, but she was always a little bit different, a little bit problematic, you know. And then that's how it actually turns out that the Kree are the evil ones, and the Skrulls are actually just trying to defend themselves and their land and their earth, trying to defend their world and their planet from the Kree. So she was actually with the bad guys. But obviously in the end, she then turns into a good guy and helps the Skrulls out. So that's the ending where she completely she's on fire. Quite literally on fire. For me, as you can see, I'm gushing. I will give Captain Marvel a solid 8 out of 10. This is taken into consideration that I'm only 10 movies in and there's 27 movies in the franchise. So this is subject to change as we continue through the series and as I give my feedback regarding it. But I'm definitely going to give it an 8 out of 10.